Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Kai'Sa supplementary kit, and today we're going to be taking a look at crit Kai'Sa. So taking a look at the top builds, you can see that actually crit, oops, wrong button there. You can see that actually crit Kai'Sa does kind of not really appear except unless you look at the feature ones. And there is this funky Kai'Sa build that is like used by the player number 1 and player number 3, with player number 2 basically having no build. Like I've seen this going around, but I really don't know what's up with this build. Like you would go for Blaster into Runans and then into On Hit and Riftmaker. A really strange, but I can kind of see how it works though, because with Kai'Sa's like kind of quote unquote main build, you do go for these three items as well, but you just go for a Bork instead, and I can kind of see how Blaster could be useful, but anyways, we're not here to talk about that, we're here to talk about this, right? So here we have the new Bloodthirster, which now gives you more AD as well as more max health, and you of course still get the physical vamp, so very close to what the old Bloodthirster was before the shield bow was combined into it. And then you go for boots. Now boots is either gluttonous greaves, or you can go for defensive boots if they are very heavy AD or very heavy AP. Despite the nerfs, I still think defensive boots are still very I think the defensive boots will always be strong, right? As long as you get the percentage reduction in terms of damage, it's always gonna be strong, right? Then you go for blaster. They get nerfed, but you still get the same amount of bonus range. You do a little bit less burst damage, but you actually get better wave clear. And then of course your standard IE and more reminder, extra crit damage, grievous wounds, armor pen, the works, right? Last item, you can either go for something defensive, such as a Amaranth Twin Guard, GA, Maw, things like that, or you could go for something offensive, like a Runan's Hurricane. Now, I personally love going for Runan's Hurricane on Kai'Sa as the last item when I go for crit. Of course, you don't want to go for it too early because you're going to delay your crit, and that's going to be bad. But Runans on Kai'Sa is just so strong, like especially when you're like full crit with Runans, like it just does so much damage, but you do have to be very careful not to get caught by anything though, because you don't have any defensive items. So standard rune setup for ADCs, and then spells, flash, and you can honestly go for a lot of options right now. I know some people like to take Ghost. I don't think Ghost is that great on Kai'Sa because you have your ult to reposition, and I don't think the movement speed is as critical on Kai'Sa as other ADCs, but you can go for Ghost if you like it. Cleanse, of course, if you need it. And then I normally like to take Exhaust or Barrier, right? Barrier or Exhaust. I normally go for one of these, right? So anyways, with all that said, let's take a look at our gameplay. Okay, now zooming into the gameplay section of the video, firstly what I want to say is this particular gameplay actually comes from the previous patch, so 6.3D, I believe. Yeah, I mean nowadays these patch letters are getting so confusing because there's so many. Last time used to just be ABC, sometimes you get D, but it's not just ABC. Now you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Did we even get to J? I think we got to J, J and or N or K the previous time. But it's just so confusing nowadays. But this is from the previous patch. So you still have the Bloodthirster. I'm still gonna have the Bloodthirster that has the shield, and not the new one which gives you health and doesn't have the shield. But I think that for Bloodthirster, anybody who used to already build Bloodthirster will still build Bloodthirster, in a sense that if you built Bloodthirster previously for the shield and for the stats or whatnot, you're still gonna build it at the exact same spot you built it previously. The only thing that really changes is for people who built Collector first and Bloodthirster second, or for example built only Collector and not Bloodthirster, do they now go for Bloodthirster instead of Collector? Now, personally, I think that with Bloodthirster now giving more stats and giving max health, I personally think that without having tested it all that much yet, I only played like 1 or 2 games in the new patch. I personally think that for now it seems that it seems that I would think that Bloodthirster is probably better to go for than Collector, right? Because now with the 10 extra AD, 250 extra max health, I do think that Bloodthirster is going to be good. So I do think that probably going for Bloodthirster does make sense. So next thing is talking about Kai'Sa herself, right? So does Kai'Sa's crit build change? Now I still think this crit build is probably the way to go if you want to actually build crit. But there's a very interesting confounding factor, which is Phantom Dancer. There was a time where Kai'Sa actually built Phantom Dancer back when it was the old one. But because Kai'Sa does like attack speed, right? Because at the end of the day, with more attack speed, you can proc your passive more quickly and more often, right? So Kai'Sa does like attack speed. So with the huge buff to Phantom Dancer, it is possible that Blaster gets replaced by PD, which of course is Phantom Dancer. There is a chance that that could be a better build than going for Blaster, because Blaster, of course, gives you burst damage. But the thing is that Kai'Sa also likes burst damage, because something else Kai'Sa likes to do is ult in, and assassinate people, right? And definitely Blaster helps out with that way more than Phantom Dancer, right? So Phantom Dancer it helps you out a lot more in the long-term DPS, but of course Blaster helps you a lot more in burst damage. And in Wild Rift in general, burst damage is always better than consistent DPS, right? Because normally, if you can just one-shot someone, especially on a champion like Kai'Sa who can one-shot people, or like other ADCs who just do a lot of upfront damage, champions like MF or champions like Samira who both don't really build Magnetic Blaster, but the point is that if you can choose between a one-shot and a DPS, most of the time you're going to choose one-shot for most champions, right? So not quite sure if Phantom Dancer or Blaster would be better for Kai'Sa with these changes in the latest patch. We'll have to kind of see, and it's not just Kai'Sa, of course. Most champions, most ADCs, sorry, would have to kind of debate between Phantom Dancer and Blaster. And I say debate as if Phantom Dancer is a good item now. I do think it's a good item now, but we'll have to actually see if that is indeed the case. And of course, we'll have to test it out for ourselves. We might have to make some videos on it, and we have to kind of have to see where the meta goes with these changes. And of course, Kog'Maw is going to come out really soon as well. So will Kog'Maw go for Phantom Dancer? A lot of questions are still on the table. Of course, with big changes, there's always going to be a period of 1 or 2 weeks for the meta to kind of adapt, for players to kind of test it out and kind of figure out what's the best build. Sometimes they don't ever figure it out. Right? Sometimes the top like 1, 2, 3 builds are all the same, but they're actually not the best build, and people only realize months later, right? That's just the nature of the game. So anyways, look at the current matchup. This is a pretty good game for Kai'Sa in my opinion, because as you can see here, we have a lot of engage, right? You have Rakan engage, you have Wukong engage, and you have Ambessa who can technically ult in. And this is the kind of games I love to play Kai'Sa in, especially crit Kai'Sa, because crit Kai'Sa bursts people down a lot faster than AP Kai'Sa or on hit Kai'Sa. So I like to play crit Kai'Sa, when the enemy team is relatively squishy, which this team kind of not really, right? You still have 2 tanks, so I wouldn't say they're a squishy team. But you do have a lot of engage, so if they engage onto anyone who's squishy, we can just ult in, follow up, and just get a quick kill, hopefully, right? But I think Kai'Sa is always a decent pick. Like Kai'Sa is probably my favorite champion to play on the Rift. Personally, I love Kai'Sa, Jhin, and Lucian, so I think Kai'Sa is always like a very viable pick in majority of games as we now pick up our Bloodthirster and get our Q evolve. So yeah, especially if Ori, MF, or Senna get caught, it's easy ult in and an easy kill. Of course, with Kai'Sa, you have a lot of outplay potential as well. All 3 of those are melee champions. So here you can see Rakan goes in onto the MF as well as the Senna. You can see I'm ulting in already. However, Rakan is going to die for it, but they are focusing him. MF, of course, gets the ult on him. I'm focusing the MF. I still have barrier. I still have shield bow. Sorry, not shield bow. Bloodthirster shield. So here, I'm just auto-attacking the Senna. Here, she's almost killing me, but I just pop my barrier, and I'm able to get in that last auto to pick up the double kill. So even though Rakan died for the cause, we do get 2 kills in our pocket, which probably makes it, not probably, but it does make it a worth it trade. As a knock-on effect, our minion wave is also pushing in, so they are going to actually, they're not going to lose some minions because their minion wave stopped it outside the tower. We are, in fact, going to lose some minions because our wave is a little bit big. So, but you can see we're walking toward the jungle area because a fight was kind of breaking out in the river. So you always kind of want to walk towards it, and then if nothing happens, you can just walk back to wherever you need to go, just in case you actually are needed. So here I get a pretty deep ward, and the reason is that, Rammus can easily just roll in, right? So getting a ward a little bit further down helps out a lot in terms of spotting Rammus out. Like here, you can see it's coming already, right? So we have a lot of time to actually just back off, right? And Bess is actually here as well, who is, of course, our jungler. And here, Wukong tries to catch out the MF. We try to catch out the Senna. Senna still has flash and flashes away. Rammus now kind of stuck on his own, but he's not really the guy you want to focus. And of course, a fight is kind of breaking out because Dragon is up. Now here, the Rammus ults in very aggressively. 2-man knock up into 2-man ult by the Rakan and into the Ambessa ult onto Rammus. I don't want to ult onto the Rammus because that's not a valuable target. I mean, he is the jungler, but he's not so easy to kill. Ryze gets rid of him eventually. We get a lot of damage onto MF, and we've held our ult a long time now. Like, you don't have to use it at the start of the fight. You can use it for a shield when you need to, or to reposition when you need to. You don't have to, be anxious about it. Here, again, I did not ult over the wall there because I don't really think we can kill her quickly enough before she gets to the tower. So we do follow up in terms of popping our Q and just auto-attacking, but we don't have to ult over and, run her down all the way, right? Because even though she doesn't have flash, she's like a couple steps away from the tower, and it's not very easy to kill her, so I don't want to waste my ult, and not get a kill or, not escape, right? So the whole fight I never actually used my ult at all, right? Which is fine, right? Of course, in most fights you probably will want to use your ult because your ult gives you a reposition and a shield. But if there's no opportunity to use it and you don't actually need it, then why use it, you know? So here we get the push in, and you can see that the contest for Herald is coming. The enemy team is not really there, except Rammus, who's actually doing it. And here you can see we're trying to enter the area, and Bessa is now getting into the area. Ryze is there just launching pot shots at the enemy team, and Orianna is just stuck in the pit. Rammus is able to actually flash out. We secure the Enchanted Ensemble. Rammus ends up going down. Volibear now is the one stuck in the pit, has to flash out. And MF is now in the mid lane where we are now all going to go and push. Herald gets put down in the mid lane, crashes, and we can easily use the Herald to secure this mid lane tier 1 tower. MF gets caught there. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of tempted to ult there because I do think myself and Ryze have quite a bit of damage, but what I also know is that that tier 2 tower is a mid lane tier 2 tower, very close to the enemy base, and the enemies are all coming out of base, so I think even in a world where we dive and we kill MF, we probably take like 2 tower shots at least, and we are gonna end up having to walk towards the enemy team, and then we're gonna die immediately after, which is probably not worth it, so we're not going to trade 1-for-1 with the MF because at this point in the game we're more valuable than the MF, where 1k go up on her, and if anything she should be trying to get the 1-for-1 on me instead of the other way around. So here you can see MF is not very intelligent here. She tries to defend the tower, and here again I wanted to just ult to the other side, but I realized I don't need to, right? As Rakan secures the killer, I could ult to the other side of MF to get an isolated Q on her and kill her faster. But she's gonna be dead either way. There's no way she gets out, right? Like, worst case scenario, if she flashes away, I can ult to follow her, right? So again, we are very, very patient and we hold the ult, right? Perhaps to some people, maybe a bit too patient. Like here you can see we have ult if we want to ult onto Orianna, which we don't because she's standing near the minion wave. So we can't really do that much damage to her, so we're just going to back off. But if we were able to clear that wave and Orianna was still around, we definitely are gonna ult right on top of her and probably end up just killing her because we still have ult, flash, and barrier. She has flash and barrier and ult as well, but she is like no mobility, right? So she's gonna get run down by us, no big deal. Right, so she crashes the wave, we're gonna go back and catch the wave. And at this point, I believe we have enough for Blaster already, but of course we want to make sure the waves are cleared before we go back, make sure no gold is wasted to the tower. Blaster secured. And now we can redeploy onto the map. So taking stock of the situation in the game right now, you can see that the most fed person on the map is actually Volibear. He's 4-0, and he is super overextended at the moment with trying to dive the Wukong with Rammus, right? So here myself and Rakan are entering the picture. I want that shutdown on the Volibear. So you can see I'm just hitting Volibear non-stop while trying not to get hit myself. Now I can only really reach Rammus at this point, so that's who I'm attacking. Here you can see we back off so we don't get hit by Orianna ult. And here again, we're very patient with holding our ult. We can either use it for the shield or to chase people down. So there we finally get the kill on Volibear. Very, very low targets. I hit the W onto Senna. That's where my ult finally comes in. Finish off the Senna. We're focusing Orianna now. Unfortunately, we flash right into a Rammus taunt. We get a triple kill here. Almost getting the Orianna as well, but we do get a triple kill and die. Unfortunately, us diving in there meant that we are in the middle of the entire enemy team without our team there. So I don't really know if it's the best ult, especially because I held that ult for so many minutes before I actually used it. But we did get 2 extra kills from the ult and then died. So yeah, I don't know. I think it was all right. I think it was all right. We are now pretty fat. We're 5-1 and 4, and we almost have the same amount of gold as Volibear. But Orianna also has that kind of gold. Thankfully, she has a little bit of a weird build. She has gone for Seraphs into Ludens, and that's a little bit of a strange build because normally, if you either normally go for, they're both first items. So you normally either go Luden's first item or Seraph's Embrace as your first item, or Archangel's Staff rather, which will evolve into Seraph's Embrace. So she has gone for both of them, which is really, really strange. Now Volibear here face checks into my entire team. He's getting focused by 5 people at the same time. Thankfully, Mbessa gets the ult off onto him, which peels him off of me. Otherwise, I would be in a little bit of trouble here. Now here I have ult, so but again, the important target MF is in the front line, so I don't have to ult to kill her. So there we easily kill MF, and I'm not going to ult into the middle of 3 people, so I'm still just patiently waiting. I lifesteal off the Gromp, secure the enemy Gromp as well, And here, we're trying some kind of funky dive. Here we're getting over the wall. We're not even needed to kill the Rammus. And people are trying to go for Senna, but Senna's full HP. And this is really dangerous because, again, it's close to enemy base. And Orianna is somewhat nearby. So instead, we raid the enemy jungle of their camps. And now there's a wave in mid. So I initially wanted to just go Baron. Then I realized that if I get this wave in mid, I can probably back and maybe get my IE. So you can see I'm just going for the wave. Of course, to no one's surprise, Ryze is kind of trying to fight me for the wave. But we're both carries who want gold, so no real surprise there. So here we back, we get ourselves the IE, and we get the W evolve, getting all 3 of our evolves at this point. And then we can make our way over towards the Baron. Now, even though we can't necessarily do the Baron right now, we still want to go toward the Baron area, because you can see number 1, the enemy team is there. Number 2, of course, it's an important objective, so you kind of want to be around the area for it. And by the area, I mean you don't really have to be in the river, but you want to probably be in top lane or mid lane, and you don't want to be where the Wukong is, which is in bot lane, right? I mean, he does have TP, but TP is not up. Either way, he gets his farm, he gets his items, and he's now not respawning, he's now redeploying onto the map from base, right? He is headed toward this side. So here, I don't think myself and Rakan have a lot of kill potential on Volibear. Volibear, of course, with 3 tank items, I have 3 damage items, but I don't think he's easy to kill, especially because I don't have my Mole Reminder yet. So I was initially just trying to get some free damage onto him, but Rakan tries to engage on him. And here you can see a fight is kind of breaking out. Insane Wukong out there, so I ult to the backline to kind of follow up. But unfortunately, you can see I'm just getting chain CC'd by the Rammus. I popped the barrier because I'm gonna die if I auto attack him if I don't barrier. So here I barely survive on 1 HP, and you can see that now the issue is, without me to kind of DPS there, my team is not really doing very well. I mean, granted, we do have like Ryze, who also does a decent job, but you can see here that I'm trying to get back to the fight. I realized that, my team is all 1 HP. They're probably going to die, so I don't want to go there and die with them, so I'm going to recall instead. But Ryze and Bessa actually kind of managed to run away at 1 HP. And Bessa's still getting chased down and does eventually die, but Ryze is actually able to recall. Although I would say Mbessa's probably more valuable than Ryze at the moment. Very greedy recall from MF there. We easily get rid of her. Because without MF, without Mbessa, the enemy team can go for Baron because we don't have a jungler. So myself and Ryze, we're trying to enter the area, right? We're 2 relatively fed carries, and I do believe we can try to stop them. So here you can see I'm focusing the Volibear, and I ult here to reposition. I'm able to get the Volibear, and I'm able to actually get out on 1 HP. Now with my 1 HP, I'm still trying to get something done. I'm still walking back up to see if I can do anything about it. Now I can't really attack Rammus, because if I attack him, his Thornmill is going to kill me. So I can't attack Rammus, so I have to kind of just walk around. And here you can see Baron is now ours for the taking. Enemy jungle is now dead, and our jungler is now up, and which is the complete opposite situation. So myself and the Ryze were able to successfully defend the Baron and kill some enemies such that we are able to get the Baron for ourselves. I am, however, 1 HP, so I do need to recall and get back my health, as we also get the components for Mole Reminder. And now, Dragon is coming up soon, and it is going to be Infernal Soul for our team, so that's probably worth going for. And you can see that a large minion wave crashed into bot lane. However, since we have Baron minions, the whole wave gets eviscerated before I actually reach, and I can only really pick up the next wave. Now, while waiting for the team, we're just gonna see whatever farm we can get. We get a deep-ish ward in, and we're just gonna take the enemy farm while our team is, going about pushing other lanes. And yeah, just clearing the minions, push them in. Now here, Ryze is starting off the dragon, and our jungler is on the opposite side of the map, right? And I do believe the enemy team saw her on the opposite side of the map. Thankfully, though, they don't actually contest her. I was semi-expecting Rammus to just roll in, ult in, and steal the dragon there, since we didn't have our jungler there. But thankfully he doesn't, so that actually gives us the Infernal Soul. Now here we secure the tower. MF nearly gets caught by Rakan. And Orianna is getting chased down by Ryze, takes a chunk of damage, but she's A-okay. Now here I have to admit, I accidentally auto-attacked that blast plan. I'm not sure what I was thinking there. But yeah, thankfully Rakan was on the correct side of it and didn't just get blast planted into the enemy team. And me cause his death. Now here, Mbessa completely loses her mind. I'm not sure why she decided to ult in under tower on 5 people, but she ends up like uh, dying, which is no real surprise there. And what could be a potential throw, right? So our team now getting run down by the enemy team because now we have a numbers disadvantage. They just got a complete free kill onto someone without really even having to spend their ult or anything. So that was a very huge int from Mbessa. But we do complete our more reminder. So we were able to escape from that horrible fight, and we were able to now get ourselves to 100% crit, which of course is pretty huge just in terms of being able to carry the team with our damage. So here I still need one more item. Of course, I also need my enchant. I really want to get my stasis. Stasis on Kai'Sa is pretty important because if you ult to the backline and assassinate someone, you can then pop the stasis to let your team catch up to you. So here you can see Volibear is going very far up to go on to Rise. However, he must have seen that we're coming because he actually ulted away. Now Wukong now goes in onto the volley and the MF. We ult in to follow and we kill the MF first, of course, who does the damage. And now we're going on to volley. We flash away from the Orianna ulti, which of course was very predictable since we're all clumped up. So very nice prediction flash from me there. And volley does end up dying in the end as well. So both MF and volley are down. Both Baron and Elder are coming up, while MF and Volley will still not have respawned yet. So now it seems like a pretty straightforward case of just taking the Elder, taking the Baron, and then ending the game. So long as our team doesn't get caught by any random thing, this should be a relatively free win. And here I'm going to attempt to back, but here you can see the Rammus does kind of semi-catch out the Rakan. Mbessa is already starting off the Elder Dragon, and in theory, we don't really have to do anything here, in the sense that all we gotta do is to stop Rammus from getting to the Elder Dragon. We don't even need to necessarily go to the Elder Dragon to take it, because Mbessa can do it by herself given enough time. We just need to give her that time, but we end up just going there anyway just to speed up the process. And you can see here that now the enemy team is coming to contest it, and thankfully the Mbessa gets a smite, right? If she didn't, could have been a very sticky situation. So here we get the kill onto Rammus. Volibear is now on us. We still have ult. We're able to kill him without needing the shield. And our team is able to clean up the rest except for Senna, who is still alive. We have a wave in mid, so we don't even need the Baron. It's a simple case of just walking straight down the middle lane and ending the game. So trying to get the kill on the Senna before the game ends. I actually hit my W on her, but she just was above the Elder Dragon threshold. So, you know, forget about it. We're just going to end the game as she just walks out of the base. So, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.